Good morning, everyone. I am so glad you accepted this invitation because we all know that we're here by divine appointment. You know that because we're all here as a spiritual community of love. And so today, what I know is going to happen is we're all going to have this awesome experience and journey and maybe some aha moments. So I am so looking forward to this journey with you this morning. So I want to open this morning with a quote from our founder, Ernest Holmes. He says, "Always pressing against the gateway of consciousness, seeking admission, is that which forevermore sings the song of its own wholeness, forever embraces us." Think about that. Wow. The gateway is open, totally open to all of us. So that reminds me of a story about this woman. She was so angry. She had transitioned, so she got up to God, up to the pearly gates, and she was banging on those pearly gates, just banging as hard as she can, and she was demanding to be let in. And of course, St. Peter walks up to the gates and says, "My dear, all you have to do is open and walk through." And that made her even more pissed. So she walks through the gates and she goes, "I want to see God. I want to see God right here, right now." And St. Peter says, "Okay." So of course, within seconds, there's God. And God says, "My child, what possibly could be wrong?" And the woman looks at him and says, "Are you kidding me? Do you know what's going on down there? There's chaos. There's high gas prices. There are people killing each other. There are wars. Do I need to go on? Are you totally unaware of what's going on down there on earth? You're sitting up here on your cloud and just having a wonderful old time where we're all miserable. What are you going to do about it?" And God, of course, being that loving light that God is, just looks at her and says, "Well, my child, what do you want me to do?" And she says, "Well, I want you to do something. I want you to fix it. I want you to send someone to do something about it." And God looks at her and says, "My child, I sent you. God sent you, and you, and you, and me." Wow. God sent each and every one of us to create a world that works. Now I realize some wear flats and some wear heels, but we're all equally created to have that beautiful, perfect world. And what's so wonderful about the science of mind and spirit, all about our teachings, is that we are a faith, we are a philosophy that gives us spiritual tools to create a positive change each and every day of our lives. Wow, we have things to work with. So what I know is, wow, if I've got these tools, then I'm going to think of myself as God and company. God and I are working together to create this beautiful world, a world that works for everyone. So what I know is that when you're a contractor and you're building something, you need a foundation. And that's what we teach. We have this awesome class, it's called Foundations. And it teaches us everything we want to know and more about this beautiful spiritual teaching, this positive way of life. How we can make our world work, how we can create for ourselves. It's an amazing, amazing journey. So I know that as contractors, You know, there are certain things that we have that we stumble upon. And there's the hard hat. Because what we know is this hard hat is for those Chicken Little moments when we feel that our world is crashing around us. So we have this, or what we appear to have, is this protection. But what we know in the science of mind is we just have to remove the hat because we're open at the top. And what we know is that when things appear to be falling around us, they're actually falling together because we have the spiritual glue to know that there are experiences that are coming into our life that are going to be even better than what was before. So, of course, as we go on this journey, we have to have our books. We have to have our Science of Mind text, which is a guidebook from our founder, Ernest Holmes. It's filled with all kinds of wonderful things like meditations and the thing itself, how it works, what it does, and how to use it. So if you ever doubt yourself. Now, then of course, there's the Bible. Or as some like to believe, it's the basic instructions before leaving Earth. So we have our Bible, and this is also filled with drama and all kinds of wonderful stories and parables. And then, of course, what I like to have is my recreational reading. And that's for when I want to do something, what I would call is maybe escape just a little bit. So I can get lost in my own reading, my own personal pages. And then the all-important journal. The journal is this wonderful, amazing map of where we have been and where we are now. And what's really nice about the pages is that we can revisit our growth. We can say, wow, I remember that. Oh, and I walked through the fire and I'm still here. And you can continue to look at these pages and be in awe of that oneness that you're experiencing. So, as we journey with Science of Mind, we also have to have help or occasional prayer. So what we do is we have, looking for him. It's a little buddy. Ah, there he is, which we know as practitioner. So what we know is our practitioner is our prayer partner. It always knows the truth for us. And in Science of Mind and Spirit, we have this wonderful recipe for success, for our own empowerment, and it's called the 5 Steps of Treatment. And what those 5 steps are is its recognition, which we all know as God. And you can name your God however you want to call it. It, Yahweh, God. The other one is, the second step is unification, where we take God and we put that God, that image of beautiful light, and embrace it and know it as ourselves. So God and I are one. And then comes the meat or the heart, which is the realization, which is what we really want to know the truth about. And the practitioner knows the truth for us. Simply that. They already know the truth, and we know that truth. And then, of course, like all good spirits we are, we always say thank you. We always say thank you for what is given and what we put out. And then, of course, we release, we let it go. We allow ourselves to know that whatever we have been praying for is already done. It's happened. We just need to let it go. However, sometimes when we pray the best prayer in the whole world, and we think, okay, no problem, we put a monkey wrench in it. Okay? Where we love to twist and turn and make it into self-doubt. And we put negative all over it. So what have we done? We've just eliminated what we just prayed up. It also represents the monkey mind. How many of us have been in prayer or in meditation? We're in this wonderful place and we're just breathing. It's great. And then all of a sudden, the list starts. And it's like, okay, well, after this, I've got to go wash the car. I've got to go wash the dog. I've got to go to the grocery store. I've got to get this. Got to go to church. This. And it all muddies what we've just done. But I'll tell you the secret about this monkey wrench. We can get rid of it. It doesn't have to be there. It's just a wrench. It's just something that we allow ourselves to enter into and that we don't have to. So the next best thing, of course, when you're doing all this, you have maybe we call issues. So you've prayed yourself up and you've got rid of the monkey wrench. And then, of course, everything keeps coming up. And you're like, oh, how am I going to do this? How am I going to keep all of this down? So we've got our spiritual hammer. Because you've got to keep everything nailed down. And then, of course, if you've tried to keep everything nailed down, well, of course, we get sometimes stuck. Oops. Here it is. In our limitation. So we have to pry ourselves out of it with a pry bar. Because what we know in science, mind, spirit, there is no limitation. We have choice. We're able to be what we want to be. We can put forward, we can set the intention to what we really want to do. And we can create that life. It's kind of like going to a movie. You know, you sit in a movie theater and you're looking at this movie going, oh, really? It's not really sitting well. Well, get up and go move to another theater. Have another experience. You're allowed to do that. So don't have to get stuck in your limitation. So, of course, when you've got all that, and you think, okay, I'm good. It's always good to breathe. We all have to breathe. Okay? So always have your oxygen mask ready. Because it's that calming, wonderful breath of God that just flows through us. It's this amazing life breath of God that we all can experience. So now, if you've had your spiritual hammer, you've gotten rid of your monkey wrench and your crowbar and your crowbar, and you're breathing. The next thing you really have to watch out for is that spiritual 2x4. Because this spiritual 2x4, when we least expect it, when we think everything is just perfect, hits you upside the head and goes, hey, do you see what's going on here? I call it actually the knock 3 times theory. That if you are experiencing something or something shows up in your life the first time, it's basically saying, okay, I'm bringing your attention to it. The second time, it gets a little bit bigger. And then the third time, it's a wake-up call. So we have pretty much all our tools. But the best tool in the bag that I've given you all today cannot be seen or touched. It has to be revealed. And that is the light that I bring into the world and that I know all of you bring. because you are all this beautiful, shining light. Because I am a light in the world. I am a light in the world. I am a light in the world, and we shine. Namaste.